I'm on my way up to the sugar shack in the old Bronco. The trails are getting quite soft, but it doesn't mind. We've been boiling up there for quite a little bit now. The pots are getting down, so we're getting close to taking it off. Well, a bunch of the family decided to show up and come hang out at the sugar shack. It's not a very big parking lot, but we like to make room for everybody. The pots are boiling good. Everyone's up here having a good time. I even got Grandma loaded up in the Bronco and brought her up here. She's perched over on the couch having the time of her life. Anytime the family's together is a good time. So we boil the old school way with a couple of big cauldrons there. We do it the same way my family's always done it. This way you get a nice smoky flavor into the maple syrup you just don't get from using an evaporator. Sure, an evaporator would be quicker and it's easier to control and stuff like that, but this is the way we've always done it and this is the way we'll continue to do it. We use 2 pots so that one pot's always boiling, so when it's time to add more, we'll take from the one pot and then we'll just add it to the other pot so that when we add the cool sap to it, it doesn't stop them both from boiling. And then when it's time, we just add it all into one pot, and that's when it's starting to get close. So we have a medium-sized kitchen pot that's attached to a long stick that we use for a scoop to scoop from one pot to the other, and then when it's time to scoop into the strainer and filters. The way we test to see if it's close or not is we'll use the pot, we'll let it sit down in there for a minute and warm up, and then we'll scoop some out and we'll slowly dump it. And then we watch the edge of the pot to see if it's starting to stick to the edge of the pot. And when it starts to clump just at the end and it makes a bit of a square, you know it's time to take it off the fire. It's not time just yet, so Cal's going to fan the fire to get it nice and hot to keep it boiling, till it is time to come off and put it through the filters. Well, he's got it rolling now, maybe a little too much heat, because it's starting to foam up and we don't want it to boil over. Another sign of when it's getting close is when it starts to froth up like this. You really have to watch it at this point because that'll boil right up and start boiling over the edges of the pot, and then you're just wasting maple syrup at that point, because at this point it is maple syrup. We're just trying to get it down to the right consistency. So maple syrup done this way is going to be noticeably darker than maple syrup done in an evaporator just because of the smoke that does go through it. My grandfather had somebody ask him one time why the maple syrup that we made was so much darker. He told him it was from spit and chewing tobacco in the pot. He always had a good sense of humor. Took whatever chance he got to joke around or play a prank on somebody. Well, it's maple syrup now. We're just going to give it a few more minutes and then we're going to pull it off of there. But doesn't that look good? If you're not careful, it can get away from you at this point, but you can always add more sap to it to thin it back out. Once we get it roughly where we want it here, we take it down and we'll finish it off on the wood stove in the kitchen anyways, just before we clean it. Well, we've scooped it off, we filtered it into this big canner. We should have about 8 liters when it's all said and done. So we'll load it up, we'll take it down to the house where Kelvin's wife and my grandmother and Cal will finish cleaning it and get it into the jars. And I'll head on to the next project. Well, the wood splitter's not working. I should have checked it before I dragged it down here, but anyways, we just ended up splitting the wood by hand. It was not that difficult. But the wood splitter does make life a little easier. So what we're going to do is, it's hooked to the tractor now. We're going to take it down to the house. Victor's down there working on, well, he's taking some plows off some trucks. But we'll have a look through this and see if we can't get it going. So we've discovered the problem. It doesn't want to run on pure water.
Who'd have thunk it?
Well, yeah, I know. The things you find out, hey? Well, let's fix that. So, obviously we have to drain the water out of the tank. It's draining quite slowly, so I brought up the idea, why don't we pressurize the tank and see what happens? And it's working quite well, if I do say so myself. Well, tank is drained. Inside the tank doesn't look too bad. We'll give it a little bit of a clean out and then fill it back up, see if it runs. So I put some fresh gas in it. We're gonna just clean it out a little bit more.
It's not just overflowing, so there's that.
It's a good sign. You in off-road mode, buddy? Hi.
Maybe suppose it starts, or does it need some ether?
I hope it starts. Give it a little shot of some air and see what happens, worst case. I'll just work through the crap, eh? It's choked.
Ha.
It's throttled a wee bit. It's throttled all the way. There's an on-off button back here. Oh, it's on. Okay.
Oh, there's tiny human.
Well, we gave it a few pulls. It still doesn't want to pop off, so we're going to check the spark plug, make sure the moisture never got down in there and rusted it.
I figured it'd make its way in
So
there.
you can see, if it focuses, there is water in there. So that's not fantastic, but we'll clean it out. Pull it over a few times without the spark plug in it, see if it'll force any moisture in there out. Well, just reinstalling the spark plug here, see if it wants to pop off this time. got a little bit of time before dinner here, so I figured I might as well fire up the old loader and go drag out a couple more trees for the sugar shack. There is still some up there, but at least this way we'll know we have enough for the next time we boil. So let's go get that done. I've driven out here, out back into the middle of the swamp, sort of the back corner of the property. I see a nice dead, dry looking one right there. I'm going to see if I can get over it. I might just be able to shove it over and then hook onto it, drag it over here, and then I'm going to try to skid it out that direction. And then I saw another big dead one out that direction. We'll hook onto it, skid them both over to the sugar shack. Well, let's see how this goes. So in front of the tree I'm trying to get to right now, there's a stump from a blowover, so I'm going to try to push it out of there. But the problem is it is really wet right now. This is a bit of a swampy area. I'm in a hole, so I'm just sinking myself. So I back up to come up with a different plan. I decide I'm just going to reach over top of it with the bucket as far as I can. Well, time to grab the chainsaw and go cut it off. I'm going to grab the chain and another short length of chain because I know I'm not close enough for this one chain to reach. So I got the tree cut right off, but it's hung up at the top in another tree. So I'm just going to hook onto it with the chain and pull it out of there with the loader. Okay, I got it pulled out of there. Now I'm going to turn around, get it hooked onto the back of me here, and then I'm going to skid it right out through there. Looks like the easiest route. And then, like I said, there's another tree out there I scouted earlier when I was skidding out the first time, so we'll see if we can find it again, and we'll skid those two out to the sugar shack. I have it hooked up. So I moved the chain back a ways on the log here, because if I try to pull it right there, I don't think it's going to pivot. It's just going to try to snap the tree in half, and then I'll be dragging a bunch of little logs. And to avoid that, like I said, I've hooked it there. Let's see if that pulls it around this tree or just tries to break it in half. Okay, well, that didn't go too bad. As you can see, I got it pulled past there, about past halfway point. Now, there's still a good chance the top's going to try to break off, but we'll see what happens, because there's not really a whole lot of other option for me here. So I'm going to hook onto it and see if it comes out. All right, that worked out pretty good. It's coming along there nice now. So we'll jump on the loader and go out to the next one. Tree's still there so far. We're almost back out to the main trail. There's the other tree I was talking about. That'll burn nice for boiling. So we'll get over to it, we'll fill it, and we'll hook it on too. Okay, we got it back out to the main road here. I've unhooked from it. We're pretty close to that tree. So we'll go over and we'll follow that tree, we'll hook onto it. We'll drag it back over, we'll hook onto that tree and drag them out. I got them both hooked on. Let's drag them over to the sugar shack and call it a night.